Welcome once again. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Office Hours. As usual, the format, we're going to go over a particular topic, and at the very end, we'll go over your Q&A to ensure that we are providing value to your business. So today, the topic is going to be how to make that cold lead feel like a lukewarm lead. Is inspired by a podcast that I was on actually earlier this morning, Provisions or Vision Pros. It was an excellent episode. If you have an opportunity, I put it up on all the socials so you get a chance to see it. And we had a pretty lively discussion about the idea of cold leads versus warm. And when it came down to it, the moderator really he kind of does cold leads, but really kind of doesn't. He invites people in. And if he doesn't know them, he uses that strategy. He's not going out like door knocking or cold calling or doing like those traditional cold lead. And I really like the idea of being able to reach out or connect with audience. He even does some paid ads and things to Facebook and Google and stuff, and things of that nature. But he's trying to more like a lukewarm, and he's trying to test the markets and see who's willing to raise their hand and who's interested. So it's semi cold in the sense that like he doesn't know who they are, but at the same time, it's not just random call a stranger. It's a little bit of in between. So let's go over some of the strategies we talked about and some of the ones that I use through Live Local marketing framework as well that kind of coincide with the topic that he was talking about. So the first strategy is going to be you want to try to invite them into a group experience. So if it's somebody who's cold, you don't know them, either you reach out like a post or maybe a DM or a paid ad or things of that nature. Where cold leads feel like they're being sold to, you're reaching out, buy my thing, I'm the expert, here you go. Or you clearly using a magnet, lead magnet, like try this out, and we're gonna put you in the system. I need your email. That's not what this is. This is gonna make them feel like included. You want those leads to feel like they're part of the group. That you're tapping them on the shoulder and say, "Hey, listen, we're over here talking about this. Would you like in on this conversation?" And it feels different than a cold call, cold lead. So you're not positioning yourself necessarily as an expert that has all the answers and they need to buy your thing. You're positioning yourself as like a contributor and you want them to be part of the discussion. So some examples of this could be things like, hey, we're discussing this inside our group this week. Curious what your take is on, and you have like a topic or thing you're talking about. It has to be legit too, of course. You have to actually be talking about this in your group, or it has to be the topic of your blog this week, or it's got to be something that happened in one of your episodes or one of your workshops. So it's got to be real and legit. Another type of script or example could be, hey, business owners are split on this topic. Which side are you on? And you're kind of inviting them into a discussion, maybe even a poll, things of that nature. Um, or even, hey, we're mapping out our 2026 strategy with some of the obstacles that you're facing. That one starts to get on, in my opinion, kind of get a little close to, you know, uh, generic DMing, which we see so much of in the LinkedIn space. That's just they fake. They look at your profile for 2 seconds, they grab a couple things off of it, and then they coldly outreach. And it's a pain. It's fake, and you can tell it's fake. So that last example that we went over was he's teetering on the edge. I would probably pair that with something that's actually happening on your social media. So if the person actually wanted to know more, they could click on it and you're legitimately going over mapping that week or you're going over a certain topic that week. And so that way you say, hey, listen, go to my social. We're going over this topic. I'd love to hear your take on it. Where there's more warm to it, there's more legitimacy to it. You're not just faking it and pretending you know this person, like so many happen, like happens so often in the LinkedIn space. You're using all of these strategies to kind of soft invite them in to see who raises their hand, no, who doesn't raise their hand, right? This is not like a funnel. We're not trying to funnel people in and put them into an email chain and all that stuff. We're trying to like get into conversations. You're trying to, again, tap them on the shoulder, see if they want to be part of the talk, see if they want to start following you. It's a slow play, but it's also more effective. Like you could reach out to 3,000 people with a cold DM, or you can reach out to 10, 15 of these people and you'd probably get the same results because you're legitimately trying to get some information from them versus I'm pretending and just playing the numbers. right? And once they decide if they want to be included, they're in. They're more involved. They're more hands-on. They interact a little bit more. It's just a better type of lead. It's a better type of interaction. And the beauty of it is the coldest of people just won't respond. They'll think you're just trying to get their emails or their firstborn child or whatever it is you're trying to steal from them, and they'll just completely ignore you, which is great because they're not a hand raiser. You don't want to talk to them anyway. Not a big deal. Move on. Keep going. So it helps kind of weed out the people that aren't aligned with your goals and values as well. But if they jump in, if they vote, they comment, they answer, you want to do a follow up. Hey, we appreciate your input. Based on it, on what you said, maybe follow us to see how the rest of the group responded. Do another invite, another soft invite. Hey, go here for another soft bit of information. Don't turn around and say, hey, listen, that's great. I've got this book you need to read and start to sell them something. Or, hey, you'd be a perfect candidate for my course. Because then you just undid all that time and patience and effort you put into it because they see the hard sell after the soft sell. You know, play it again, like soft sell again. Do it one more time. Like, oh, that's great. We have the poll going on this week. Give us a follow to see how it ended. Or, hey, the blog this week is going to end with some cool tips. I would love to hear what you have to say once I get that one out on Friday. Just things like that where you're not hard selling them because then you're going to lose them again. You're adding value and then you're adding value. You're jabbing as Gary Vaynerchuk always says, and you're turning somebody cold into lukewarm, which takes time. Be patient. Okay, so that's the first one, inviting them into a discussion or something that you got going on with the group, and that's a good and easy way to get a cold into a lukewarm. Second one is give them some low friction wins. We do this quite a bit in the marketing world. Just be sure that you're not doing it as a funnel because once you get into a funnel, it's 50-50. Or, be upfront with them like, hey, this is a funnel, or you're going to be added to the list, or give them an option to email in. Because if you just make them give you their email in order to take this quiz or take this checklist, they're just going to opt out again anyway. The odds that you actually convert that is really low. Make it an optional email in, or make it an optional sign up for this, or follow here. Just again, no hard selling, no forcing people to be there. The conversion rate's just not worth it. The numbers game, I find that the numbers game's just not as much fun. It's just, hey, I have something you may want. Be sure it's so strong in value that they just keep following you, right? So with this second option, the low fiction win, um, cold people won't do it. It weeds them out right away because they don't trust what you're doing. They don't opt into things, so it helps with the hand raisers once again. But do something easy like a 5 minute quiz, or here's our 1 page checklist, or comment and I'll send you something. You know, give it to them and actually follow through whatever it is you want to give them. But again, it's hand raisers. And then maybe even do a soft follow up like, hey, I love those answers. Let us know if you want to be added to the email list. I've got a lot of cool stuff just like this. If not, cool. I hope you got value from that 5 minute quiz and it made your business a little bit better. Don't do the hard sell. Don't put them in a funnel because they're just gonna opt out. Your opt out rates will rise. It's something that they choose. They do it on their own time. It gives them some solid feedback, and then they get to choose what their next step's gonna be. It adds value to their pain point, so they might continue going with it. Be like, hey, listen, I like the vibe of this. I like how he's adding value. I like how and this is the way I do my business. There's plenty of people I hopped into their LinkedIn newsletters because I follow a few things, hear some stuff they have to say. I'm like, this is really good stuff. And you follow them. Sometimes I'll buy the book. Maybe sometimes I'll buy a course. Sometimes I'll do some things like that. Maybe I'll do a one-on-one, do a consultation. I've done those things in the past, but it's on my own timetable, my own choice. And it's because these people are adding enough value that I'm like, I see why I need to take that next step. They're speaking to me. They've hit me in my pain point. I chose to do this 5 minute quiz. I think this is valuable. Or I'll take the 5 minute quiz. They add me to a funnel. I'll opt out in a week anyway, or I'll never read the email. So it all depends, but that's the second one, getting cold into a lukewarm phase. Have some easy big wins or easy small, some low friction easy wins. Thank you very much there, Billy. And, try to see if what they want to do with their next step. Leave it up to you. Balls in their court, right? So, and the third one is where I usually live. This is where I do most of my warm marketing, and my live local framework lives in this space. It's borrowing warmth through association. Nothing helps with cold leads faster than when they see somebody, especially somebody they know, or a business they go to, or a place they frequent, and they see that they are already part of the group, right? So these testimonials, these conversations, these commercials I make with local business owners, they show real faces, the real people in the community, and it starts to build that trust. And this is where I personally see the most conversion. I see the most people interacting with the content. I see people tagging each other. Hey, you need to check out this food truck, or you need to check out this whatever. Or it's a testimonial, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I know Bob, or I know Fred. That's pretty cool." That's probably my easiest cold to warm. And I do this one most frequently because it's low hanging fruit. I'm already doing it. I've got plenty of content for it, and it works. You gain that trust pretty quickly. So when humans see themselves interacting with me, they feel safer. They step in because there's an association, right? This is especially strong if you've got some office hours clips like we use here. Of course, I take all the people out for their privacy reasons, but the office hours clips shows precedents like, hey, there's people in this meeting and they are getting value out of it and so forth. Again, the local business interviews, I do that all the time. Student wins, I'm working on that one. That one's actually one that I would like to continue to start doing more. Getting some, I have a couple of them, but I don't have nearly enough. I would like to have more students coming back and saying how much they enjoy the framework and how what they're getting out of it. So that's definitely one on my 26 list to do a little more of. And then, of course, workshops and replays. So the workshop replays, I have a few of those. We're going. The last one I did with Graham was a good one, but I forgot to hit record, so I kicked myself in the butt on that one. But we do have a few more coming up, right? We have one coming up with Brandon Drake for CRMs. I have one with Charlie Sells regarding branding, and Sarah Losi about podcasting. So I've got a handful of workshops coming up too. That will be the replays we'll put in the website, and you'll have other experts. And so that one actually builds a lot of trust too, in the sense that if other experts in the fields are willing to collaborate and work with you, that means you know your stuff, because most of these experts won't just hop on a workshop and put their name on it for anybody, So it's a couple of experts, working together. Know, like, and trust is going to be built up because you both are masters of your space. And so it helps, build audience and so forth as well. So there you go. So that's the three that I'd like to talk to you about today. Taking those colds, turning them to lukewarm, the live local framework style. One, inviting them to the group experience. Two, giving them low friction wins. And then of three, of course, borrow warmth through association and knowing people. I don't do cold leads. It was quite a discussion I had this morning with Jackson. He does some paid ads. He does things of that nature. And we went back and forth a little bit, but in the end, he doesn't do traditional cold, and I love some of the stuff he was saying in that regards. And so some of the things that we talked about were in the office hours here today. Ways that you can move people naturally into a lukewarm. It's going to take a little bit of patience. It's not a numbers game. It's seeing who's going to raise their hand, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to see who is going to raise their hand, who sees value in what you're doing, and you got to keep tweaking the wording and the content you put out there and the types of workshops you do and all the different content you put out. It's got to be a variety. So you have specific people raising their hand that you actually want to work with and talk to. So we don't like I said, don't do colds. We try to invite people out of the cold and into the warm weather, and that's kind of our niche. So there you go. There's some tips to get people out of the cold into lukewarm, where you can start working with them, converting them, and giving them information, hitting them at their pain points, and there you go. That is cold, the live local way. So now we're going to hop into some questions because I have a few here piling up, especially on this specific topic. Probably some examples and things that I have going on that will help you with your business.